to the Fantasy Footballers Dynasty Podcast with Borg, Betz, and a baller.
Welcome in. Wednesday, November 12th here. Fantasy Footballers Dynasty Podcast. And there are just two of us left in this cage match.
Two-man episode. Two-man.
It's like we were in a cage match, and you and I decided that we would tag team up and make sure we survived, because no one else did.
No. Betz messaged this morning, and he was like, "Meow. Guys, I'm sick."
That's exactly what his message, that's how I heard it.
That's how I read it, and he's like, "Hey, you guys do the show." We're like, "Okay, yeah, don't worry about it, Betz." And I'm like, maybe, Jason and I alternate, but every once in a while we step in and we have the two of us here. And then Jason was like, "I'm sick." And everyone's just big babies. Big babies. They don't appreciate a day's hard work.
Yeah, when was the time
of talking about Dynasty fantasy football?
There was a time in this country where people showed up to work, and do you have this feeling sometimes with certain friends, and you're like, does that guy work? I never see that guy working. You know, I have certain friends that, like, I just see them out and about. I'm like, I don't really know what this guy does anyway.
I think that's what most people believe about us, Kyle.
They're just talking about football in the middle of the day with their friends. Yeah, my youngest, they had an assignment at school where they had to explain what their parents did. And
oh boy,
his was real simple. My dad just sits at home and talks about football. That's what he said.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that for elementary school, that works out. I did this is now years ago, because this would have been when my middle boy was in first grade. But I went and I did, it's not career day, but whatever, where someone's parent comes in and they talk about what they did. So I did that once. I went in and I'm like, "Hey kids, you got to know math. Math is cool." I'm like, I use math all the time in my spreadsheets.
Let me talk to you about target share.
Yeah. They're like, "Talk about football." I'm like, "Yeah, but math, it's important."
It is funny. All those years I spent doodling in the middle of class, just about sports stuff. My dad actually is really proud of that now. He's like, "I always knew that would go somewhere, son." And there you go. There you go.
I always knew you'd stumble into a podcast.
Exactly.
And then you'd like that show and you'd write them and be like, "Hey, I can do some writing." And then now I'm just a full-time employee.
I think my parents are really good. They're really great people. They're really good at rewriting history in terms of, like, we knew that this would happen.
I think all parents are, and I'm sure I will do the same.
For sure. So Mike and I are here. We're alive. Jason, if you didn't listen to yesterday's main show, he is alive.
Yeah, he is.
For a second there, I thought, this is it.
There was a pretty hairy 15 minutes for everyone involved in the recording, where the percentage where you just keep. I live my life honestly by percentages. I'm like, okay, odds are this, and it's like, well, the odds for Jason are that he simply overslept, and then you start adding in more variables, like, okay, he's not responding to messages, he's not responding to phone calls. Oh crap, his wife doesn't know what's going on. Like, we hit a point where it was the overwhelming probability that something terrible had happened.
No, that had definitely hit that point. And then as a collective experience that all of us as men, basically went through, essentially, the worst parts of war together. That's what we did.
Right. Well, it felt like, in a horror movie where they just have like one single string, like, but then it just slowly gets louder and louder and louder until you're like, wait a minute, something bad's going to happen.
I mean,
but we're okay. We're here to talk Dynasty.
Yeah, we are going to talk Dynasty. Now, just correct me if I'm wrong, but the original, sound that you made for Fantasy Footballers, the original track, wasn't that not for a horror movie?
It was, in fact, for a very B horror movie. Yeah.
All right, good stuff. I want to make sure, as a historian of
Right. Yes.
Of this,
we must know
of
our
this
facts.
company. I must know it. So on this episode, we will talk all things trade. I'll even get out our trade analyzer and work through a couple different trades that people have. I pulled off something in my leagues, Mike, that I don't know if anyone's ever done before, and I'm gonna
Do tell.
I'm gonna tease that.
Oh, you just teased it. Okay.
Because I'm very proud of I somehow stumbled into this trade in 2 separate leagues at the exact same time, at the exact same moment, and I made it happen. So we'll talk about those
The
trades.
exact same trade.
Exact same trade.
Wow.
I know.
Okay, I'm excited for this.
No, I was pretty excited about it, but we are going to jump in and review the film.
Weekly Rewind.
Every single week, we look at a couple of players, and really more recently, we've been talking about rookies and guys that maybe we have a limited view, you have a little bit of production, and we kind of want to talk about what they could be moving forward. So, Mike, you watched the Bears film in the
Yep.
wasn't quite snows, flurries, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was some snow. As someone from Arizona, I would say it was snowing.
There you go.
I mean, maybe if you don't live there, you don't call it that. Yeah, but I really was trying to zoom in on Luther Burden and just try and figure out what's going on, because on his yards per route, I don't know if we have that somewhere, but like his efficiency right now on a per route basis has been excellent.
2.8.
2.8. So that's very high.
Yes.
A second round pick, seemingly handpicked by Ben Johnson as the new regime. He came in. The first thing he does is he adds Colston Loveland, perhaps his Sam Laporta, comes in and gets Luther Burden. The people that liked him, like me, were like, maybe this is the new Amon-Ra role, but at the very least, this is a very interesting player who his story is a little strange, where he had the breakout year at Missouri, where he went for over 1,200 yards, and then the next year was just like half of that, and he still played. So just some weirdness to the profile when you were scouting him, but the people, me being the people, are demanding that Ben Johnson get Luther Burden on the field more. Enough of this Zacchaeus nonsense. I mean, you have a second round, extremely talented rookie, and it's weird. It's weird to still be forcing a veteran player in.
As much as like he's been a fun player over the last couple of years, Zacchaeus has like, oh, it's a fun little, slot player. It's like, it's hurting the team.
Right. Get your great players in there. They seemingly don't know what to do with DJ Moore anymore. He's down at 70% targets per route run. I mean, that's got to be the lowest of his career,
yes.
I would think, by far. But so it's like, okay, how is Luther Burden actually doing? Watching the film, it was 3 for 51. It did to me look like he was getting used as the clear out a lot, which was frustrating. So I'd be like, this guy's so talented, and he's so fast and so shifty. I wasn't seeing like a lot of domination of getting wide open, but it seemed like you could tell when he felt like he was going to get the ball almost. So I don't know if that's a negative trait or not. I would probably a little bit negative, but of the more effort when you feel like the ball is going to come to you type of a situation. But watching him, he seemed like, and they're moving him all over the place. Like he's in the slot,
right,
locked in, like tons of plays, putting him in motion, setting things up. He's on the outside. So overall, I came away from the film not overly excited, as excited as I am just looking at raw numbers and telling myself the story. Not in any way disappointed or anything like that. Just if this is how he's going to get used, like he was this past week, then 3 for 50, 3 for 51, 4 for 60. That's what we should be expecting. I mean, he's kind of done the same thing with Colston Loveland, where it's just, these are, along with Rome, you should be force-feeding targets to those 3 players. But they just are not.
It is interesting.
At least not yet.
When they drafted him, we were kind of like, okay, so how is he going to fit into this offense? Because the number one comp we gave was DJ Moore, of like,
Right.
yards after the catch guy. You can break tackles. And so it is interesting because I almost feel like they don't know how to use DJ Moore. They don't know quite how to use Burden. Loveland, they're still figuring out. But we kind of trust Ben Johnson and really good teams. Like I'll profile the Buccaneers in a second. They draft players not so much with immediate need of just, I think this is a good football player, and we will figure it out on offense as we go. So like his last reception was a 26-yarder right before the 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter.
I think that was just like a deep hook comeback.
It was an important play in the game because they were still trailing at that point. They have used him on a lot of screens, 10% of his routes. The only player with a higher percentage of their routes on screens is Khalil Shakir this year. And then Debo is right below him. Debo is kind of another comp that people have thrown around for Burden. He's not quite as big as Debo. But yeah, you mentioned his production profile. That sophomore year, you can't just erase that. It's kind of like what we did with Ollie Gordon. It's like, this is a crazy year of production in college. And then the next year, it's down. It's almost in half. What do I do with that? But the draft capital was strong enough to warrant that. I just don't know what they're going to do with DJ Moore contract-wise.
Right.
Beyond this year.
It seems almost impossible to get out of this is, I mean, they just re-upped him, right? Was that this offseason?
The one before, yeah.
Or the one before, and it feels like they would have to, if they either keep utilizing him, getting low production for a high amount of money, or you trade him and you agree to eat some of the salary. That feels like the only way out. And the last part I'll add in, like, Caleb Williams is playing much, much better. It's still, to me, honestly, it's still not great. Like, this is, we trust Ben Johnson. Yeah, we do. But we trust Ben Johnson when Jared Goff has a clean pocket, he starts scanning. Like, Jared Goff is an excellent quarterback as long as he's protected. And Caleb Williams, we are not there yet. At least my living in my mom's basement assessment of his film, of he overreacts too much when his first read is covered up and starts into a scramble mode, and then we go to backyard football. We got to get to the point where we can consistently have 2 to 3 looks before we start freaking out, but it's not there yet.
He hits the spin button a lot on the controller.
Yes, he does.
And it works some of the time. Like, it's been way better not taking sacks this year. Remember last year it was just like horrendous the entire time. So definitely been an improvement, but not all the way there. The last thing I'll say about Burden is he was taken the end of the first round, beginning of second round in rookie drafts. I think he's definitely like on the trajectory on the way up where you should be.
Yeah, I'm still okay. If you had drafted him and you were bummed out the way that it started, I'm okay with the not everyone gets to jump on the rocket ship right away. Sometimes you got to wait for your ticket to show up in the mail. And to what I watched, Luther Burden looks like a very, very capable player. But we got to get even Amon-Ra. Like, did Amon-Ra from week 4 of his rookie year until that when the breakout happened, like week 11, week 12, did he just substantially improve, or did the head coach and Ben Johnson be like, oh, what if we use you like this? And something just in the planning switched, and all of a sudden Amon-Ra is one of the best wide receivers in football.
Yeah, Amon-Ra, the first 12 weeks of the season that year, averaged 3.5 catches and 32 yards and didn't have a single touchdown.
His ascension was wild.
Dude.
I mean, we probably really should not comp players to that, because that was an impossible, just 30 yards a game into, what did he average from there on out?
I can look at it.
He won people championships.
He was a top 10 wide receiver in 5 of his final 6 games, averaging 93 receiving yards a game. So tripled his production.
I mean, football is weird, man. Football is weird that you have those guys. He was there on the team the whole time.
Yeah.
And he's getting 30 yards.
Burden, I think, is one of those players, since we're talking trades this episodes, that if you are a rebuilding team and you're looking to get younger and you're saying, hey, who are some young pieces? I don't think he's very expensive for rebuilding teams if you're flipping I don't know, a running back that you're like, hey, I'm not going to, like if it's Dave Montgomery, you're like, hey, I don't know what I'm going to do with Dave Montgomery. I could get Burden and a pick for Dave Montgomery.
Oh, yeah. I'm open to that.
All right, I want to profile Tez Johnson, the 7th round. I'm calling him toothpick because
he's quite small.
Yeah. And when you compare him to, here's all the players in our database, it's really hard to find somebody who's super fast, super skinny, but then also played 5 years in college. So like all of the things you didn't like, and do you remember his combine was like doo-doo?
Yeah.
The only person that like kind of fits in is like, he's Tank Dell-esque as just like, there's production. We don't know what to do with it. But when he was at Oregon alongside Troy Franklin, he had a year with 3.45 yards per route run as mostly a slot wide receiver. Then he gets drafted in the 7th round by the Bucs. And we're like, okay, I guess we don't have to worry about this guy anymore. And my question, Mike, do you think they went into this season with any plans for this receiver?
No, none at all.
You go through their moves of Godwin with the extension, Egbuka, who's another one of those players like, hey, we're just going to take the best player available and figure it out later, which is obviously a great move. McMillan's been out the whole time. Evans is now out for, is it the rest of the year?
Close to it.
It's interesting because he's a player that now is seeing, he ran 78% of the routes this past week. He had 2 touchdowns where it's like, wow, this guy's a contributor and he's giving them outside speed that they did not have at all.
Right. And not only all those injuries had to happen, but then it's like overtaking, in terms of target share, overtaking veteran Sterling Shepard, who not a top tier player, but Sterling Shepard's a fine football player. He can get things done. So the ascension, that is a very low probability hit rate that is occurring right in front of us.
Both of his touchdowns, I will say, if you just box score watching, like they were fortunate. One was a scramble drill touchdown, and then one was a touchdown with 30 seconds left.
Yeah, they were down 2 scores.
Still,
forcing the
it's
issue.
cool that when Baker is scrambling, he's fast enough that he can get open in those scramble drills. He is being used more out wide than he was in college where he was slot only. And, a lot of his stuff is go routes, it's crossers, it's posts, and he's doing really well on those routes. So for this team, he's doing what's needed. They will get eventually McMillan back. I guess Godwin comes back next year.
Oh, yeah, of course, McMillan. I was like, there was another guy I couldn't figure out. I'm like, there was another player in the plan. And yeah. Goodness gracious, the touchdown, McMillions of last year.
It will change. Like, I think what you have right now is great, but I'm looking at this roster beyond this year. Shepard's a free agent. Evans is too. Godwin, I don't understand Godwin because they gave him a ton of money and then
they have to be so frustrated.
Do you think that they went into this process saying, okay, we trust this player. He's a great player. He's well-liked. He'll work through this injury. And it's just way worse than they thought?
I thought that the new one was a completely separate injury. In terms
Betz,
of it wasn't a re-aggravation.
This is why Betz should be here.
Yeah. I'm sick. I believe it was a new injury. I can't tell you was that injury caused because he came back too soon. That's not doesn't feel like a stretch to say, where you're like, hey, I have this injury and I'm playing through it and now I'm running different or whatever. But yeah, Chris Godwin was certainly in their plans to be either number 1 or number 2 wide receiver.
My thought with Tez Johnson is if you've recouped any value, that's crazy for a 7th round guy that you got off your waiver wire. Most likely. Maybe you took him in your 4th round, your rookie draft. I don't know, but no expectations. I think this team didn't have any expectations. I think he can stick in the NFL. I just think they're going to be adding more people to the fold, and I would not be chasing touchdowns with him, but fun player for the NFL. There's not many dudes that are 5'10", 160 that have any staying power.
Right. Yeah, his career is going to be very fragile. Once everyone is back, does he even get on the field? I don't know. Yeah.
It's fun with a quarterback and a team that you just know they can put up points. So they're in shootouts where if you want to chase that in a double flex league, you can get there. This week it's Buffalo, so it's kind of a fun game if you wanted to go back and forth. I totally get that. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll talk some trades. All right, Mike, we teased it last week. It's technically still free on the website right now, the Trade Analyzer. But why don't you talk to me real quickly about why we went all in on this, and then when we do add things, we want to do it well. So we're not just throwing something together.
Yeah, it's a thing that we have heard people asking for quite some time. We only put things out when we feel we're confident that we can actually execute on it. And things like this, I mean, we specifically called it a trade analyzer, not a trade calculator, because look, words do matter. Because this is about, we're trying to help give confidence to fantasy football players. Because the most common questions we get, start sit is this, should I make this trade? Is this a fair trade? And it's a very easy, very clean UI. It lets you know, like, we got a bar. There's a fair zone in the middle, and when you add players from your team and you add the players you're going after, lets you know based off of our, either our dynasty rankings or the end of our rest of season rankings, things like that, where we fall in terms of, is this trade fair? Trying to help people get the confidence to, like, hey, if I throw this out there, I'm not getting fleeced.
Yes.
Or, and this is just based off our opinion, honestly. Like, because I'm sure you could put a trade in here that we think is completely right down the middle, 50-50, and then the person receives the trade offer and they're like, this is garbage. I would never. Of course, that's going to happen because we all value for fantasy football is so loose and all over the place. It changes from week to week, moment to moment sometimes, but we were trying to do our best to give Foot Clan access to a tool that can help confidence in just making sure a trade is fair. And honestly, it's just one of those tools that's fun to go in and just, if you're like, hey, I got 5 minutes, I'm on the toilet, I don't have a game to play right now, jump in the trade analyzer. Because honestly, simply being active in your fantasy football league, knowing what's going on, knowing what team has what players, that knowledge is massive in terms of having actual success in your fantasy football league. When you can have a zoomed out, holistic view of your whole league, you will end up winning more.
And this is just the first iteration. I know that we're working on some other stuff.
Yeah, we're in beta still.
Other stuff behind the scenes. So if you want to check that out, go to footclan.com and you can get on that trade analyzer. But let's talk trades.
Let's talk trades.
All right, in just a second, we're going to try to go through as many trade questions that we have in front of you. A lot of these are from the Foot Clan, but I want to talk about a trade that I just made, and I use the trade analyzer.
Yes, I want to hear this.
So I found myself in an interesting situation in the Ballers Main Dynasty League and then in a Superflex League that I was short at quarterback. So let's first start Ballers Main Dynasty League. All right, Jeremy and I have a very good team that we rebuilt, and now it has come to fruition. We have Puka, we have JSN on that team. I could just stop there and be like, we are contenders. But Tucker Kraft, Jaden Daniels, a lot of young studs, good running backs, lots of wide receivers. But we just had Jaden Daniels and Kraft go down the exact same week. And we started to ask ourselves the question, what do we need to do to continue this playoff run? Because we just don't know with Jaden Daniels. We can't count on him for the rest of the season. So trying to acquire a quarterback in a one quarterback league is really hard.
It's weird. Yeah.
It's hard because people don't need them. Like, a lot of people have pretty good backups where ours is just Jordan Love and we feel fine. But like, we just look around the league and we're like, okay, if we want to really compete with your team, and there's really like 2 or 3 other teams, we had to figure out the quarterback position. A lot of times people want a first right away. They're like, hey, if you're going to get an elite quarterback, you need a first and something else. And that stinks in a one quarterback league to give up a first round pick. And so we made a deal, and I used a trade analyzer. We gave up Trey Benson, who was our running back 5, and a first round pick in 2027 for Justin Herbert and Luke Musgrave, who is Kraft's backup. The analyzer says we overpaid. We think we overpaid. And yet,
my instant reaction would be, it is a bit of an overpay, especially like the way I think about Trey Benson in a dynasty league.
For sure. We looked at our timeline and just said Trey Benson is a player that we would love to have for the next couple years. And yet we're in such a position right now where we need a quarterback so bad. Like we can't just survive on just one option. And we also look at this and say, like, one, I love Justin Herbert. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL.
Yeah.
That I think there's enough high-end outcomes, even with their offensive line being bad, that we would feel really, really good. Musgrave, even on that Monday night, actually was on the field a ton. And they've had a ton of injuries. He's just throwing. But my point of bringing this up is saying, I look at this trade and it might be a little unfair. But that's actually not the main question I think in trades you need to ask all the time. Is it fair? Is it completely fair? If I was really lining this up, I could have gone back and forth for a while. And our league, the trade deadline is this week. I know in a lot of leagues it's this week or next week. I'd rather make a deal and be proactive about what we need than looking up in a couple days and be like, oh my gosh, I wish we would have made a trade. We have Jordan Love and that's it. So do you approach trades the same way?
As in,
hey, this is a little unfair, but at the end of the day, I'm not going for just one-for-one value. I'm going for what does my team need?
Yeah, honestly, Dynasty, more often than not, that's where I end up of my most common trades in the Dynasty League are I went and overpaid for someone because if you have a specific player you want to go after, you have only one team you can talk to. You have one manager, and the way that they feel and value about that player, that is now the currency. That's the value in that league. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Or you'll just get the random pop throughs of a trade, and you're like, oh, that is in fact very sensible. I accept. And those are very funny because then I've had a few of those where I get the trade and I literally I look at it for maybe 60 seconds. I'm like, no, this is good. I take it. And then the other person freaks out. So they're like, wait a minute, whoa. You took that trade right away. Like then all of a sudden they feel like they've lost the trade because I accepted it immediately.
Right.
It's really funny. You sent the trade. You thought it was fine until all this. That's how much value can change in fantasy football. Someone sends a trade, it gets instantly accepted, and now you're like, oh, wait, I lost that trade? Because of the timeline was too fast.
One of the things I do in Sleeper is if somebody sends me a trade and I look at it and I go, okay, I think this is somewhat fair value. Maybe I can get a little bit more. I don't do anything with that trade. I start a brand new trade with similar options so that I still have the option to accept. As opposed to just countering that one and now it no longer exists.
Right. That's actually probably a pretty smart logistical way to approach it.
Just because I don't want to cancel out a deal if I need to come back to it. I also want to mention this about Justin Herbert. So we looked at Justin Herbert and said he's one of the best options available for trade because the team trading with us is rebuilding. Mike, your team has the second best record in the league. We have the best record. We are really vying for that bye because Justin Herbert in week 16, he plays at Dallas.
That's delightful.
So if we can secure a bye and we know that we have Herbert set up for week 16, we feel very, very good about our opportunity. So
yeah, well, you got a good team.
That was part of it. Now, I traded for Justin Herbert and Luke Musgrave. I gave up Trey Benson in a first. In another league, at the exact same time, I traded Trey Benson in a first in a Superflex league, and I got Jordan Love. And the reason why I needed Jordan Love is because my only other quarterback, I have Drake May, is Kyler Murray in a Superflex league, who has all but abandoned my team. We hate him.
Yes.
He's not allowed to sit with us. He's not allowed to be a part of the team. But I gave up the exact same trade.
You can't sit here.
I gave up the exact same trade, which also was leaning towards the other person in the trade, because I am so desperate to get another quarterback in this league that I'm also a contender. So I gave up Trey Benson in the first in 2 leagues, 4 quarterbacks, but one of them was a super flex. So all of that to say, if you're right now trying to make a push, it is better to be proactive than think, should I do something, should I not? When, yes.
Reactive.
Yeah, Trey Benson's going to be fine. I don't know about rest of season. Next year, I think he'll be great.
I think Trey Benson's a great target right now.
You think that?
For both, for redraft and for Dynasty.
Gotcha. So any deals you're trying to make right now, Mike? I know we're in the same leagues together, but we're in different situations.
I currently, in the Dynasty League, I'm not. And, you never want to be too complacent and too involved with your own farts and things, but my team's very good. And I got the good news of, I'm riding Jared Goff, who his schedule actually the rest of the way, it's okay. Jared Goff is weird because he'll give you huge boom games like he did last week, and then he'll just completely vanish. And then I've been rolling out Joe Flacco, who, if you've been listening to the show, you know that I love me some Joe Flacco on the Cincinnati Bengals. But we got the news that Joe Burrow is likely to be coming back, perhaps week 13, week 14. It will matter what the schedule is. So, there is that little that little variables floating around.
It's crazy to look at your team and see that you got, 1 total point from your wide receiver position this past week. And I'm like, oh, he's really feeling it. Garrett Wilson's out. Romeo Doubs going to be out. Yeah. And then you look at the bench and you go, Lamb, Chase, Pickens.
Those guys were in because CeeDee Lamb and Jahmyr Chase were on bye. I'm not sure what genius scheduled that.
But
we made it through.
It'll probably be, there's 3 or 4 teams in the main Ballers Dynasty League, and it'll probably come down to us getting that bye. So league median will probably be the main thing that will decide that over the next couple of weeks.
It could.
I did want to talk some trade questions. And once again, we have the trade analyzer if you just want to make sure, because that's really what people want, is they want to make sure they're not getting fleeced. You can talk about comparing value, but realize that every single person, their teams are in completely different seasons. So there's some people listening saying, why are you trading for Jordan Love? Well, I don't have another quarterback because Anthony Richardson and Kyler Murray don't care about me at all and my happiness. First question, Mike, is from Honeybee. It's a super flex league. Daniel Jones and Brian Thomas Jr. for Malik Neighbors. I'm reloading for next year and have had a ton of injuries.
So super flex as well. Man, this trade is entirely, what do you believe about Brian Thomas Jr.? And I honestly, I'm not sure I have a really good read, or I'm not forcing myself to just either be in or be out. I am very confused and very perplexed by him of Brian Thomas. Was he the last one taken in the first round last year? Or was there somebody after him? I don't recall, but it's like he wasn't a part. He wasn't in the Marv.
No, it was
Malik Neighbors.
Leggett and Pearsall were at the end.
Okay, but there, it was Rome, Malik, and Marv.
Yes,
those were the big time names, and then Brian Thomas Jr. has this insane second half breakout that we, process wise. Speaking of Amon-Ra St. Brown, was part of okay, I got to remember what happened there, because the breakout of Amon-Ra St. Brown, not only was it it was outstanding. Everyone on his team got hurt for Detroit. And so it felt like they have to force feed Amon-Ra the ball. And then you had to make your decision. Was this a product of not just talent? Because obviously you have to be talented to do what he did. But was this a product of situation? Or has something Is this what's going to keep going forward? The answer was clearly, this is what's going to keep moving forward here. So, I wanted to remember, okay, when I'm seeing talent on the field, like we saw in the second half with Brian Thomas, even though everyone had gotten hurt for that team, you didn't want to just say, okay, well, that was only because the teammates got hurt. Well, we may need to reevaluate that hypothesis. And the Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence variable is so huge. It's so big of Trevor Lawrence. I mean, what year are we in for Trevor Lawrence? 5 or 6?
This is year 5, I believe.
I mean, can Trevor Lawrence ever actually become an elite top tier quarterback? It's not impossible. It just seems so unlikely to happen now.
Yes.
And if Brian Thomas, unless he's traded, which I guess there was rumors about that happening, it seems insane to me for a team to have Brian Thomas Jr. on a rookie contract and be like, "What? We're good. We got Travis Hunter." It's like, no, you have a player who put up a 1,200-yard season as a rookie. Why move away from that? But so anyway, that's a really long-winded way of talking about this trade. Of like, the Malik Neighbors side is so appealing, but it's like, is Daniel Jones plus Brian Thomas would that stop you from going out and getting Malik?
I think
Neighbors?
it's a fair deal, and
I do too.
In a super flex league, I think it's fair. I think it's okay to say that this is the bottom of Brian Thomas, and maybe we've already seen the top of it, and that's fine.
Right.
But yeah, if you're reloading for next year, I get it. I think I'd just rather just stick with Neighbors. If you are rebuilding, whatever the Neighbors side, I think I'd rather have that.
Yeah.
And just,
I think I lean the Neighbors side as well. Daniel Jones is going to be back. I mean, a team doesn't trade 2 first-round picks to go get a cornerback if they aren't
correct,
quite confident that Daniel Jones is going to be their guy and that they're going to get him back.
The last thing I'll say about Trevor Lawrence, we talked about him a little bit this offseason, of if you haven't hit 18 fantasy points per game in a season, in your first 4, you can't come back from that. The only player that's come back to relevance is Baker Mayfield. And then the only other player to like somehow resurrect his career is Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold this year. So it's like,
but all of them, I was going to bring them up, but they all have gone through a bunch of different systems. It was not just the same. And I mean, Lawrence has had different offensive systems, but like, he's been Jacksonville the whole time.
Yeah, I wonder if the new GM and Liam Cohen get to a point where they conspire together and they go, this ain't it. Because they knew signing up for it that Trevor Lawrence was the dude. The contract says he's the dude, and yet they could do what the Cardinals are doing, where they're like, hey, eventually we can move on from this and figure out a way to get out of this. Next question.
Man, he has
a lot of money.
I just want to be reminded of his contract. They seem pretty stuck next year. It takes 2 years to get it to where it's a $65 million dead cap, and he, at least according to the Google AI overview, which, can be good, not great sometimes, it does include a full no trade clause. So they can't just dump him.
You can't
he
use
would have
the
to agree.
Drops argument anymore. Like, that's part of the argument that people, the Trevor Lawrence stands are saying. But like, it's really simple. What does he do against zone coverage? What does he do in a clean pocket? It's kind of just the baseline stuff of NFL quarterback, and he's near the bottom. Going into this past week, only Cam Ward and Dylan Gabriel had a lower passer rating. So,
sheesh.
Yep. And those guys are rookies that really shouldn't be starting right now. All right, this question's about Jahmyr Gibbs, trying to figure out fair trade compensation for Jahmyr Gibbs. Would you rather trade for Jahmyr Gibbs JSN or Rashee Rice in a first? That's an expensive trade.
Yeah, that's making big boy moves. So you would trade Gibbs away, you'd get JSN or get Rashee Rice and a first round pick. Oh man.
I think I'm taking JSN there.
You're taking Jason?
I'm just taking the player that I know has the most value, and 3 years from now, we will not question his value. I think there is some variables that play with Rashee Rice.
Sure. But that's why you get an extra first-round pick on top of it.
But that could be a boat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It could. Could be a boat.
I just think, so what players would you rather have over JSN in Dynasty right now? Chase and Puka?
Still Jahmyr Chase. That might be the end.
That's what when we talked tiers last week, it was Chase, Puka, JSN in the same tier. And I guess Jefferson you can include there, or if you don't want to, but like we basically said JSN is a top 3 Dynasty asset. So I think I'd rather have JSN here.
Yeah, I think that's it's certainly the safer route to go, and not just like safe of you're being a coward. You're punting on your opponent's side of the field. You're getting JSN. So I'm pulling up the names. So Jahmyr Chase for sure. The JSN versus CeeDee Lamb I think is unique. I know that you get 3 years of time of age, but CeeDee Lamb is going to be a baller for at least another 3 years. Yeah, but maybe you just go to JSN there. That's wild. What a jump.
Yeah. It's crazy because last year, heading into the season, you're like, oh my gosh, I wasted my first round pick on JSN. That was the sentiment. And now it's gone from, okay, this is a first round wide receiver, he'll be better, to holy crap, I have maybe one of the most valuable players in all of fantasy. Pretty wild. I don't know if you remember in the main Ballers Dynasty League, we lost out on getting Bijan.
Yes, I do remember.
And JSN was our little consolation prize.
Yep.
This felt
worked out.
Worked out okay. All right, Sean Sweeney wants to ask about Josh Jacobs. Is it worth trading a first if I already have an aging team, but my Dynasty League is fairly mediocre with everyone having similar records? So Josh Jacobs for a first is definitely fair value.
I agree.
And if you were going for it, is he a piece that you're like, hey, I'll give up a first if no one else is going to do anything in this league?
Yeah, I think that, yeah, I'm totally on board with doing that. If everyone is mediocre, Josh Jacobs has been the complete inverse of Jordan. Like, Jordan Love, what happened? Jordan Love was on his way, and then they go get Josh Jacobs, and just all the touchdowns go to Jacobs.
He already
has 11 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, he's been top 24 every single week. He's had a touchdown in all but one game. And he's still getting receiving work. Like this past week, 5 receptions. The week before, 4, 3. Like he's averaging over 3 receptions a game. There's some inefficient running. Don't get me wrong. Like he's 3.8 a carry, but they're going to keep running the ball. So I would say that if you can get him for a first, that's way too cheap. And maybe a year from now, he starts to age. He's going to be 28 this next year.
Yeah, he's at the point where you would think wheels would fall off, but they're not going to move away from him, and he could be one of the players that he surpasses the running back cliff, and he's still fine for the next 2 years or so.
Yeah, he could.
So I'm cool with the first round pick for him.
Yeah, he could still end up being a low end RB1 for another year or two after this.
Yep.
So that's totally fine. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back. Next trade question is from Blake. He asks, what do I give up for Rico Dowdle? And I have Rico Dowdle in a league. I've been trying to trade him for at least 2 weeks, and no one will give me fair value at all.
The NFL trickling down into fantasy football, huh?
Dude, it sucks because I thought I'm a rebuilding team. Rico doesn't mean that much to me. And unfortunately, he caused me to win a couple of weeks because so my record looks a little better than it should. And so
that's funny.
I thought that I could get a second plus something else, maybe a young wide receiver. And people won't budge on that. Do you feel like that's fair value?
It's hefty. Rico Dowdle is one of the most confusing players for Dynasty football right now. What you got in the last 6 games played, RB1, 2, 21, 36, because head coach was like, I feel so bad for Chuba. And then they're like,
I have this moral
I'm done
obligation.
I'm done feeling bad for Chuba. And then he goes nuclear again against Green Bay, has a tougher week against the Saints, still gets it done for fantasy football. Where it's difficult, this year, I would love to have Rico. Atlanta, San Francisco, Rams. His playoff schedule is not great, but here's where it's crazy and very difficult. He is the identity of the Carolina Panthers. He's on a 1-year deal. Like, Chuba is the one who has the cash and the long-term contract. So in dynasty terms, what does this team possibly do with Rico in the offseason? I mean, and does the NFL really look again? Last year he rushed for 1,000 yards, basically being a halftime starter. It took forever for the Dallas Cowboys to finally relinquish control of Ezekiel Elliott and his disgusting nature. Very, very much like the Patriots this year, where they just like, nope, we're going to use the veteran. But the other guy is way better. No. But we got to get Zeke out there. He's 27 years old. He's gonna want a bag.
Oh, for sure.
Because he deserves it. You don't put together 2 years like this and have timed up with your contract availability and not go get that shmoney. But does anyone actually give him shmoney? I don't even know what to do, man.
It's hilarious that of the running backs that signed 1-year deals, that are just like, hey, I'm going to get a contract somewhere. We know Dallas kind of shorted him. It's him and Javonte that are looking to get paid. Like, both of them are like...
Right, and they both will... how do they not?
Yeah, I think a second plus is fair. If you can get him for just a second in a dynasty league, start there. I was trying to get a second plus like a wide receiver, a young one that hasn't done much. So I tried to get Trey Harris. That got shut down.
Okay.
But that's not like too far out there.
No, it's also the positional value, the value of this second half of the year. I mean, he'll be ranked, I'm sure, as a top 12 running back on a week-to-week basis. Moving forward.
I've been asking people, like, do they want to win? So, like, Damon, he's a manager of the football. I said, Damon, do you want to win our league or not? And he doesn't want to, apparently. He just doesn't care about winning.
Oh, what an idiot.
I know. All right, next one's from...
Everything is next year. I mean, I think if you're going after a championship, paying a second-round pick for someone who will be ranked as a top 12 running back for the rest of the year, that's fine. Like, that's not really that expensive for a half-year rental of Rico Dowdle. Plus, there's a chance he goes out and he gets a fine contract with a great team.
Thank you. Let's clip that part, and I will send it to him and get a deal done.
I'm not even trying to.
I know.
I'm talking into the mirror right now, because you think Rico Dowdle's not on my main dynasty team? I mean, come on, get out of here.
So, do you want him in Dino Junior? Is what you're asking?
Because that our Dino Junior team is a disaster right now. So it just keeps winning, though. It's weird.
All right. Well, second plus, it's there. It's your boy. It's
like, where do we want?
It's your brand.
Like Kansas City, maybe.
That would be great. Speaking of Kansas City,
I don't know.
This next player, Breece Hall, was linked to them a ton, and apparently they talked to the Chiefs. Chiefs said, no, we don't like the price. Aaron asks that I'm considering getting Breece on a running back needy team. What would you add to a first? It's a 2027 first to get him. He says, I'm pretty sure a third on top of that won't get it done.
Man.
Because it's definitely a first plus something else for Breece, considering his age.
Yes, I do agree with that. I mean, I think a first and a second, because Aaron was saying, I'm pretty sure that just a third on top won't get it done. A first and a second is perfectly fine. What I think people miss a lot in trades, and the NFL broadcasts it the same way. Often they're like, okay, here was the trade. They moved up, from the 5th pick into the first, and it's almost like they focus more on the extra picks, and you're like, hey, they still got you still just swapped first rounds. So where I'm getting at with that is, if you give up a 1 and a 2 for Breece Hall, it's like you drafted Breece Hall with your first round pick next year, but you had to pay a second on top. Like, make sure you're actually doing that in your head of, like, if Breece Hall were in your rookie draft next year, where's he going to go? I mean, I don't know yet. I'm not in the college prospecting yet. So Kyle, maybe you can help. Like, is there a running back or a wide receiver who has such buzz at this point where it's like Bijan? Like, nope, we know that Bijan's going to be the 101. We've known for a long time. Is there a guy who's even close to that, or taking up the first couple spots of a rookie draft?
There's a couple of guys that you can feel excited about if you have like a top 5 pick. So Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame, I'm really excited about. It does not mean, though, that I'm thinking about him the same way I did with Bijan by any means. Jordan Tyson, same thing at Arizona State. I'm excited, but I'm not adjusting my strategy for 2026 rookie picks the way that I've done before, where I know that it's going to be Marvin Neighbors, or I know it's going to be Bijan, or I know it's going to be Breece.
Right. So my point is, when people like, man, I 1 and a 2, it's so expensive. Like, okay, so imagine you got into your rookie draft, okay? You have the 10th pick. And to move up into the early first round and draft Breece Hall, it cost you a second rounder. And we do this stuff in the rookie draft all the time, where I'm in the late first. I got to move up. I got to go get one of those guys. I'll give up a 2. Who cares? I'm going to go get the guy. And imagine it. That they are good. He's good. He's an NFL. He could be a superstar fantasy running back if he lands on the right team. That's TBD where he's going to go and the bag that he gets and everything. But my point is, I don't think people mentally think about trades the right way. Point.
Because, I mean, let's say this. Let's say those picks do turn into something. And Breece is something. It's still a good trade for your team.
Yes.
So, yeah, in this situation, if you're a running back needy team, he says right now my running backs are Travion Henderson and Woody Marks. So
I'd go do it. I mean, I think that it could be tough from the rest of the season, but Breece is so good that he's still going to be solid this year, and then I think he'll be just what your team needs to possibly win a championship, and then you'll have the whole offseason of excitement of where does he go in free agency, and then his value might go up even more. Like, there is the odds of Breece Hall's value in free agency going down seems almost impossible to me.
Yeah. Let me use the comp of how we thought about Josh Jacobs. So the last couple of years, he had kind of those up and down years with the Raiders. And then going into free agency, we're like, okay, where's he going to go? Gets the bag from the Packers, goes to a new location, and his value's actually gone up despite getting older. So there is an opportunity, and Breece is even younger at this stage in his career. So yes, I would definitely do that. Next one is from Brett. He says, I'm stacked at running back right now.
Okay, I'm going to do it.
Okay. Hit it.
Breaking news.
I don't know what it is. Jason's alive?
You're not going to like it.
Jason's alive?
Yeah, this is Ian Rappaport, Travis Hunter, season-ending knee surgery.
That's not what...
I told you weren't going to like it. LCL repair.
The pride of Collins Hill High School here in Georgia.
So, what was all this no real bad damage. Lies.
You know what's not been fun is, have you seen those commercials with him and Trevor Lawrence together?
Yep.
Those are hard to watch. Like I know Hunter's backstory. I mentioned I know watched him in high school, so I know this player, and to see them having fun while I'm their season is doo doo.
Well, because
their record's
that
fine.
commercial, that commercial was filmed before. I mean, in fact, I'm pretty sure that he has his hair.
It's just
he hadn't shaved his head yet. This was when at the beginning of the year, dude. The number 2 overall pick. You're so stoked. You're so excited
with Cleveland now having their first round pick. Let's not forget about that.
Oh man.
Let's see what that pick is right now. So right now Jacksonville would be picking 19th, or Cleveland would be picking 19th.
Okay.
It's not as bad as the Falcons, who are currently 10th, but they gave up their pick to the Rams.
Whoops.
Yeah, I know. So Brett said, I'm stacked at running back. Do I trade Omarion, Hampton, and Waddle for CeeDee Lamb?
Whoa. What?
That's a big
Hampton and Waddle?
That's a big boy trade right there.
Oh my goodness. Oh my.
Ooh.
That's
the Christian Bale. Ooh.
The American Psycho gif. That's wild, because it's okay, Hampton, I'm going to leave him alone. He'll be a dynasty, conservatively top 8, probably much, much higher than that. Just like that first question where it was okay, well, what do you think about Brian Thomas Jr.? What do you think about Jaylen Waddle? Because I'm pretty sure that Tyreek Hill is done on that team. At least just the way that he reacted, the news, everything about it. And with Tyreek Hill gone, look who's dominating. Jaylen Waddle, freaking, where was this last year? Jaylen Waddle, ruining my guys. He's been awesome. Now, he's not CeeDee Lamb awesome, but where do you think Waddle's going to end up in terms of in the offseason in a startup? Is he going to be drafted as a top 15 wide receiver, as a top 12 wide receiver? It's Jaylen Waddle or Tedoroa McMillan.
I think I'd rather have McMillan. So I'm trying to look and see. I wrote that article last week of all the different tiers. And man, he's a little lower than I thought.
Waddle?
Yeah, I had him at
or Ted.
Waddle, I had him in the 20s.
Really?
Yeah. There's just a lot of dudes when you start to get in the same area of would you rather have Garrett Wilson or Waddle?
That I think is a very fair question. I still lean Garrett Wilson as a better talent, and the Jets should have the best quarterback available to them, whether it's a veteran who became available or
so that's the problem.
Yeah. And I know.
No. I would take Garrett Wilson too. I had Waddle a little lower. We actually traded for Waddle in the main Ballers Dynasty League. We gave up just a first and another player, I can't remember. But when we traded for Waddle, it was right after the Tyreek injury. We said, hey, what if we were to add him in the mix, and he essentially gets to be our second flex? But I feel like he's kind of shown that he can handle it. Remember early in his career before Tyreek, he was peppered with targets. I think this.
Yeah, he has an interesting career.
I think this trade, Hampton Waddle for Lamb, is fair. And if you're trying to win right now and you need Lamb, I get it. I think the value side is still on the Hampton Waddle side.
Yeah, I think I lean keeping the Hampton side.
We still don't know.
Wild.
I mean, I feel like there's been tons of injuries. Once again, Betz not showing up for work. That we just don't know. We don't know the severity. We just got the news about Travis Hunter. But between Bucky and Hampton, Joe Mixon isn't on this planet. We know that. Just all of these.
Sounds like J.K. Dobbins might be going to the IR.
Jeez. Well, we got to end this podcast before somebody else ends up
Before someone else is
before
hurt?
somebody else ends up on the IR.
Seriously.
Make sure you check out the Trade Analyzer. Go to footclan.com. Check out all of your trades for redraft and dynasty. And we'll talk to you again next week.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Fantasy Footballers Dynasty Podcast. If you want to take your dynasty skills to the next level, check out thefantasyfootballers.com.